When dynastic Hemmitt comes, it's over. We're literally talking about, well, even if we go by Manetho and he was conservative, he was just giving the Greeks something just to wet their tongue. They say ultimately you don't never tell a person your original origin because they can dictate how far you can go. Manetho said that basically we had 8,000 years. Then they asked Manetho, the high priest, well, who used to rule before then? He said, well, that's when a whole bunch of gods used to rule. The Afrocentric community at that particular time, somebody else quoted that, but what they didn't realize is the gods that used to rule, that Manetho talked about, before 8,000 years, guess who they were? Guess who those gods were?
Before Manetho?
No, the gods that used to rule, he said that there was roughly 8,000 years between pre-dynastic and dynastic. They asked him, who used to rule before 8,000 years? He said, that's when a whole bunch of gods used to rule. Who the hell do you think the God was? It was the same damn people.
Yeah.
Now let me explain what it is.
Yeah.
They got a debate going on between the evolutionists and the Christians.
Mm-hmm.
The Christians say the earth is only 6,000 years. The evolutionists say the shit is older than that.
Yeah.
Both of them are partially right. The Christians can back their shit up a little bit because the physical is about 8,000 years or something. But the evolutionists say, no, we even got things that's even older than that. This thing is about 13 billion years old. As the USA Today came out and said, well, we calculated the origin of the universe in about 13 billion years old. But I happen to know based on the Dogon and even the Greek thing that the earth was in the beginning before the universe was even founded. But I'll get back to that in a few minutes. I'm trying to hone in on what I'm trying to find out is how did a whole bunch of gods used to rule. Both of the evolutionists and the religionists are almost right, but they are not occultists or esoteric studies, so they don't understand the true history. You see, when the gods used to rule, you must understand that the earth was always here. It just wasn't always on the physical realm. It was always here, but as a gradual decline, it became physical. So when the gods used to rule, that was when the earth was not necessarily physical. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now Rudolf Steiner says that at one time the original world was a spiritual world.
Mm-hmm.
And basically the vibration slowed down. And as it slowed down, the composites came together, the elements came together, and as slow vibration, they came together and became more dense. And our bodies became more dense. Our bodies became more dense. At one time, the spiritual world was just as visible as the physical, but the physical at that time was almost invisible. It was a little faint dim. As the vibration slowed down, the physical world became more vivid and more visual, and the spiritual world became invisible. You see what I'm saying? So, those particular times are during the times of the Lemuria. They got several names: Hyperborea, Terra, Alchemoria, Atlantis, Mu, all of that.
Yeah.
They were semi-physical times. You see. And we used to use, when you asked the question, how we used to use all of this, we had the full function of all our energies, the chakras, the third eye, the kundalini, and all that. After we had the full function. After we came into the physical, we still had the full function. But the ancients understood one thing, that they had a race before time. They had a race against time. They knew that one day that these particular spiritual records that is in our DNA would shut down and would go offline because as time went on, we started deteriorating, where it become more dormant. So what they had to do, they had a race between time. That's what they built Egypt for. They built Hemmitt to record as much records as they could before this shit shut down and before our senses shut down and we just become dumbfounded. Now, all this stuff comes together. Because I often wonder if the Africans was just as advanced as the Egyptians. You have to often wonder this, why didn't the other Africans build the same type of society?
Right.
With all the large monuments.
Yes.
The Africans didn't need to build a society because they were very advanced. They had all that shit was in their head. It's just that they sent an expedition during the time of Atlantis at one part of the earth, mainly the center part, to build all the monuments so they can have when all this shit shut down. When this stuff start going dormant.
So in the center part of Africa,
they built the monuments so that they could have the monuments of records of all the knowledge they knew once this knowledge starts to shut down because they had become more and more dense into the physical.